Hey guys, we have a real treat for you coming up. This next Wednesday, the 29th at 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, we have Mike Farr, and what we're going to be talking about on this webinar is the 5-step framework for influence. I'm telling you right now, I've had a sneak peek of this. It's going to be one of the best webinars that we've ever done over here, and it's going to help position you going forward with your mindset for 2023 and beyond. You don't want to miss this, guys. I'm telling you right now, if there's one webinar we've done that you got to see, it's this one. The 5-step framework for influence with Mike Farr next Wednesday. All you have to do to register is click this banner down there. I promise you, you will not regret it. On to the show. According to the Center for Economic and Policy Research, the Fed's interest rate decisions could hurt housing. Really? It took a study to figure this out. All you needed to do is go speak with any realtor or any lender in the country. But I'm telling you right now, there's more meat to the bone on this story than meets the eye, so stick with us. But anyways, before we get into all of that, let's start with the good news of this story. The number of new housing permits and housing project starts increased in February 2022. For permits, 1,524,000 were issued in February. That's 13.8% above the revised January rate of 1,339,000. And 1,450,000 construction projects were started in February. That's 9.8% above the revised January estimate of 1.321 million. Now, here's the point that you need to understand from this. Permits issued. It's the first increase since the Federal Reserve started raising interest rates a year ago on March 17th, 2022. So this is good news. The takeaway: construction, optimistically, is up, but still starkly below the numbers we need for a healthy housing market. It's worth pointing out that permits and starts are up in spite of the Fed's spirit and economic crushing rate policy. Now, to the point of the CEPR study, according to HUD, permits and starts are 17.9% and 18.4% below the February 2022 rates. So what's the reason for this, and how is the Fed's current policy affecting these numbers? Understand, developers rely on financing to build homes. Kind of makes sense. This financing can come from debt, such as money from lenders, or equity, such as money from investors. In the case of debt, this is typically a loan from a bank. These loans often don't cover the project's entire cost, requiring developers to partially cover expenses to minimize risk to the bank. An investor can cover that gap completely or partially, sharing expenses with a developer. Either way, the developer shoulders quite a bit of risk, and the Fed's effect then on developers, when you add increased interest rates, the costs that fall on the developer rise, making the project riskier. And as a result, a higher rate environment, as we currently find ourselves in, generally means developers mitigate risk by building less. Now, this point is exacerbated when you consider the fact that developers also understand that higher rates means less demand for their now riskier development that they're building. This should bring to light the importance of new home builder sentiment. You know, that thing that we always make fun of over here. It actually has meat on the bones, doesn't it? When they look at this, it obviously makes builders hesitant to build, and we all suffer the consequences of fewer homes at higher prices as a result. Now onto the consumer aspect of the Fed's policy. As interest rates increase, demand decreases as new mortgages become prohibitively pricier for home buyers. While this decrease in demand lowers home prices, the cost of entering the market becomes too high for some. Even as home prices lower, hurting our developers, the cost of that property increases to buyers, keeping many at bay, but ultimately creating inflationary costs of living that hurts buyers as well. You might just say that the Fed's policy doesn't leave a whole bunch of room for rainbows and unicorns, now does it? So in conclusion, we can expect going forward housing permits to fall with higher interest rates as risk increases for a developer, and higher mortgage rates scares away some buyers. All we can hope for, my friends, is for the Fed to turn their policy around, get rates back down to something that's reasonable, and let's kickstart the housing market once again. It will happen. When? I'm just not sure. Sadly, I hope this helps.